Hey, welcome back, everybody. So, today I've been telling you guys I was going to get into this. I was going to get into this stream this morning and talk about these sea mothers, not just sea goddesses, right? That's slightly different lane. These are the sea mothers, and they hold a special place, a little bit different. Obviously, we tend to elevate mothers because of their significance in terms of nurturing, especially in mythology. We always, you know, yeah. So we like that. We like that component of giving veneration to mothers at all levels, and so that includes, right, like where we are here with our sea goddesses, right? So this is a good topic to come in on. If you're kind of new to the channel, I've been doing these like pretty much daily now, and I got a couple of them that are going to come across for you guys today. So we're going to have some real fun with some mythology. And if you guys have got some questions, now I'm live. All right, so I'm live, all the way around, right? I got my TikTok stream running over here. I got my YouTube stream live, so I can kind of watch everything. And I even got my notes. Like, who gets notes anymore, right? Who actually prepares notes? So that's actually what you get with Nine World Chronicles and Mythlab. Every day I'm going to do some study and some research. I'm going to put that in an easy to digest format where if you're interested in learning about these deities, this is a great way to actually learn about them, right? You don't need a lot of extra. You guys just sit there and lightly pay attention and ask questions. Again, my main thing is I'm here for your mythological queries. So any questions that you may have, like I'm repping my Cyberdyne Systems shirt today, right? Thank you, wife, for this. And now we're about to fully get into it. So I wanted to talk about these three goddesses, and they're all exceptional goddesses and what they represent. And what I'm most cool with, what I'm most proud of, is that we're able to go from various cultures. So we get some cultural love out of it as well, or some cultural understanding. And if I can, I'll give you guys some historical context. I'm just going to add this one. I'm just waiting for a few more people to get in. Thank you for the people who have already joined. Just getting a couple of notes together. So I think it'll make the stream work a little better. Okay. So the whole idea, the reason that we're looking at these three mother goddesses is that they're going to represent like Amathaounta, who represents the Aegean Sea. Okay, so this is why she's important, because you understand geographically, this is North Africa and Greek culture, and the Aegean Sea has always kind of been that bridge between those two worlds, and she leaps across it, right? So this is very important. In the middle, we have Sedna, and she comes from more Inuit culture. You can see it's freezing in the background, so she represents some Arctic or some cold weather cultures. And of course, we have Yemoja, who represents Western Africa and going into the Americas, the Caribbean, South America. She's all about that space. I'm just pulling together a timeline of worship so we can see for these three woven together. And you see, this is the best part, is getting the whole timeline together so we can discuss like where their worship started from, where it's ultimately going, like how modern. Now, I'll tell you right now, I don't know about the other two, but I know that Yemoja is definitely still on deck right now. She's like somewhere right now, somebody's making an offering to Yemoja. I guarantee it. So her arc has been long. Like, this is a long arc. I don't know if the other two goddesses are going to get that, but we'll see how their timelines prep out. And we're going to talk about their very beginning. So let's talk about these. Are three mothers of the ocean. And the first one you see here is Amathaounta. Let me go ahead and click to her image so we can kind of focus on, wow, look at that, right? Look at that, right? That is a goddess and then some. And let's talk about her. So across the world, humanity has never just seen the ocean as just a place, right? But it's kind of associated with womanhood. Like the ocean, in a lot of belief systems, the ocean itself is represented in a female form. I know we have, Poseidon. He's the lord of the ocean. He commands the ocean, but he isn't the ocean itself. He commands the ocean. Just like Hades is not himself hell, he is just the ruler of the realm. So it's very interesting that right off the bat, when we get into real or more representations about what the ocean actually was, we tend to go more of like, yeah, the ocean is female gendered. It's very powerful, but it's obviously female gendered at the same time. So thanks everyone on TikTok. Thanks you for all stopping in. Go on and join in. Ain't nothing to it, man. Ain't gonna cost you no money to come up in here, drop some questions, and like get involved with it, right? So with all these cultures, we envision these very powerful goddesses who are the sea. They themselves are the sea. So now you understand why the sea be tripping all the time. I didn't mean that, right? I didn't mean that. A lot of times the sea is calm, but when the sea decides to set it off, right? For all of us, you never want to be trapped in the sea when the sea's like tripping, because it's gonna win. And that embodiment of the sea, man, that goes along with the temperament. That's power, that's life, that's everything wrapped into one. So sometimes when you see the sea as not being a territory that's just commanded, you start to see the ocean as a provider. And this is like the first provider for everybody, right? If the ocean doesn't decide to provide provision, none of us get to exist, right? That's how powerful this actually is when we're talking about, the sea and how we relate to the sea. So it also is a space of danger and punishment, which is true. Like, I know she's all pretty and all that, but she'll jack you up if you're not paying attention to the program, right? And that's what we're going to see out of this. In some traditions, yet we still see the sea as the womb itself. And I think that goes all the way back to like, Kemetic Egyptian belief systems, where this was where everything comes out of, right? The noon is the first thing. So Amathaounta is of the Aegean Sea, Sedna is of the Arctic, and Yemoja is the mother of the African waters, okay? Now, Yemoja is connected to the traditions associated with the Aegean and Eastern Mediterranean maritime worship systems. She's primarily a spirit of and guardian of the Aegean Sea, very specifically. And you see deities who are rooted in spaces, mountains, forests, and obviously oceans, where she's tied. She's not just a mother goddess of ocean in total. She is very specifically rooted into this sea. So her symbols become ocean waves, right? A maritime horizon, like the sea horizon, and the coastal wind. These are all the things that you would visually see to represent her. Well, I think she should just go like this all the time. I would remember who you are. You never have to worry about me forgetting who you are. Okay. Now, in terms of iconography, she's always depicted as woman of the sea, shown standing in the shoreline. Of course, she's going to be adorned with the maritime top of jewelry, and then like the wind-swept hair. That's what she is known for, and she's fully rocking it. Because this was a lot of time about trade. So with trade, you get wealth, right? Or prosperity, I should say, comes along with that. So rather than being just kind of being attached to the sea, she represents the living consciousness of the Aegean Ocean, the Aegean Sea, I should say. So when you see her in that form, and like, look, even the collarbones are perfect. When you see her in that form, this is what she represents. You are literally speaking to the sea itself, as if the sea came alive and was like, what's happening, right? So she's there, ready for you to conversate with or make offerings to. Now, rather than embodying like a raw elemental waters, she represents this maritime environment. And that's important because this is what sustained the Mediterranean civilization, right? It was a network of islands, winds, and tides that enabled trade, migration, and ultimately cultural exchange. So she is the sea as experienced by sailors, by fishermen, and by coastal societies. So they have a very like fine-tuned alignment with her, and this allowed all these various aspects of life to exist, to coexist all at once. That's why she's so important. Now, as she functions as a personified intelligence, her domain actually includes navigation and sea travel at almost all levels, right? Protection of sailors as well as ships, the balance between opportunity, right, this trade, and the dangers of the sea. Like, it was some stuff coming along with it. coastal fertility, and island life were also centrally around this deity. So she was extremely important for various aspects of life. So she had a wide base of people who would see her in a worship place, right? Their connection to the sea, which was life, which was trade, which was culture, which is all these things embodied in one super hot goddess. That's what she represented. Now, a lot of primordial sea deities represent chaos. That's kind of traditional. We go back to like Tiamat, like that was pure chaos, all associated with sea. Like the earliest one, the first one was like, yeah, I'm chaotic and I'm about to smash up. And we went with that. But she's refined that to being a civilizational structure. She embodies the habitable sea, a sea that supports civilization while still remaining a little bit, unpredictable. Like she doesn't give up. She's not predictable, right? She can still rage at you, but overall she can be counted on enough that we can build thriving, successful civilizations that will still be continuing, or we're seeing the remnants of for thousands of years later. And that's very important. So her presence symbolizes trade routes, cultural contact between civilizations, and the sea itself being a connector of worlds. So now we're seeing the sea itself in a different regard. It is still womb, but this is how we connect with everybody else in the world, through the sea itself. Okay, and this is all going to be important. Now, historically, her cultural spheres have been the Aegean and the Eastern Mediterranean region, and geographically, this is under Greek maritime world. These islands that were basically under the Greek rule for most of the time. We're talking coastal city-states, and the Aegean Sea serves as a central corridor for the establishment of that culture, right? So she represents something extremely significant to them, because this is the heart and the root of their culture and their civilization. Now, historically, let's go back. Let's rewind the clock, because this is how long she's been around. Now, we're talking 3000 BCE. So this is like 5,200 years ago, give or take like 100 years, okay, within that. And this is where the seafaring cultures really started to emerge from the Minoans and the Mycenaeans. So this is where we first start getting the idea of, or the consolidation of their culture along the sea corridor here. This is very important. And during the classic periods, we saw the expansion of these networks and colonization across the Mediterranean. So they were carrying her with them as they were going out and adding all this new territory and people to the Greek Empire. I mean, it's obviously terrible to be colonized, but this is what the Greeks would say we brought along with it. So there's some truth in that spreading of culture, although you're probably suppressing other cultures as well. Now, but in this environment, the sea deity reflects the dependence of society on navigation and ocean stability. It was very important. Now, in terms of ritual practices, like every deity's got something that they want, that they like, right? And if you want to get their attention, then you follow what their rituals are. So if you wanted to go to Amathaounta, right, which is this lovely goddess here, what she likes, unsurprisingly, right? I'm not surprised. You're not going to be surprised by any of this stuff. Being that she's a Mediterranean goddess, I'm going to let you guys guess for a minute. Let me see if anybody jumps in to guess what she wants. All right, nobody jumped in, right? But what she likes is offerings before you make your voyage. Offer her wine. Anyone shocked? Spoiler alert, right? Is anyone shocked by that one? Olive oil, again, considering the Mediterranean and their the importance of the olive tree, that absolutely makes sense. The olive oil and small carved figurines. She likes small figurines. I don't know why, but that's not my place to understand why. My place is simply to tell you guys that if you're going on a sea voyage and you need safe passage through this sea voyage, this is what you're gonna need to do. And I'm always telling you guys stuff like that. I'm always telling you guys like how you need to appease these various gods if you got something on tap that you think requires that. I'm not saying every day, but if you're like, man, I'm really about to make this trip, into the Aegean Sea, I'm going to be in the Mediterranean Ocean, I need some protection. This is how you get it. Get some oil, right? Olive oil, right? None of that baby oil stuff you guys are trying to use. This is not a ditty party. Bring her some wine and bring her a small carved figurine, right? And you're probably gonna increase your odds at least of getting through that void safely. Now, she also had shrines. So there were many ancient ports that maintained shrines to sea spirits, including her, where sailors would pray for their safe passage. And the storm also had appeasement rituals. There are actual rituals to the storm that basically were all like, yo, chill out, calm down, it's going to be all right. It's okay. It's okay, Stormy, okay? You don't have to storm me all the time. We get it, that's your name, but, you can chill out. So she really symbolizes this belief that the sea possessed a consciousness. It possessed a spirit that was capable of favor, right? It was capable of favoring you, but that also means it's capable of wrath. So those are two components that we now see attached to the sea coming through this figure 5,000 years ago. So this is how long we've been talking about this deity. And I'm glad to be part of that lineage with you guys, that we continue talking about these deities. That's how you keep them alive, right? So I'm going to get this is how I get my favor. If you guys didn't know, like, this is why I do this, so that if I'm ever lineaging, right, I don't have to be like, oh, here's some wine. I'm like, I made a whole video and I talked about how awesome that you were, right? And hopefully that's going to pass. But I may have some wine with me as well. Maybe I'll, pour out a little libations for her. So what she represents from this context is the sea as a pathway. The Aegean connected civilizations rather than separating. Like island life, you can easily be isolated. And this is where the roots of sea navigation come from. And we know like this world sea navigation is probably one of the biggest technologies in terms of its impact on the world. It's our ability to make boats and understand how to guide ourselves around the ocean, understanding ocean currents and waves, the wind, also, following the sun and the stars as navigational tools. That is no small feat. That is max kudos to us. So human survival depended on respecting these natural forces. That's really what the heart of it was. The Aegean was very powerful. You were going to run into some problems, but as long as you knew the rules, hello Paulette, you're going to be all right. This is not going to be bad. So this is what their theology really represents. But I find it most interesting that the sea now has a collective intelligence. I don't know. I'm sure someone else has said that same thing. Maybe I just didn't pick up on it now. Like maybe I missed something there. But she's one of the earliest that I've seen that talked about the sea being intelligence, and she is just a representation of that intelligence. Storms, winds, and tides can be interpreted as expressions of divine will. Like she had the will to jack you guys up. Like that's what it is. She had the will to make these, tsunamis and whatever else she's about to drop on you guys in the next 20 minutes. These are all showing her will. These are expressions of her will, divine will. So if it's divine will, it kind of lets you go, you have to expect it and you have to kind of do it. And this theology emphasizes a coexistence with the maritime environment rather than a domination of it. So it's very important. Now, in myth context, she's not centrally talked about in Greek myth. So her role is more environmental and symbolic. So there's not necessarily, not going to find any, I don't think you'll find any narratives about her. So she operates more as a spiritual identity of a particular sea and wasn't talked about or she doesn't have personal, almost human-like tales like we do with Zeus and Hera and those other people. Now, her cultural function was that of keeping the sea calm. That she made the sea more dependable, and when your economy and your culture rely on this trait, that's going to be very important. She functioned as the impetus for seafaring explorations. So she was the motivation or the guide, or at least factored into, we're going to go out and explore the world, and we're going to seek blessings from this deity here with wine or conch shells or jewelry, or making YouTube videos about her, as I choose to do. And they built networks all around, through islands and coasts. So she represents the Mediterranean worldview that civilization travels by water. And then that was absolute proof. And in the only world that did. So the Aegean itself was not just geography. This was the first, or among the first, living highways of the world. Very important stuff. And this deity represents every single component of that. So this is who they're bringing their praise and their worship to, obviously for some very, very good reasons. So let's move on to the next one here. And this is Sedna. All right? And Sedna is of the Arctic Ocean. And so you can see it's icy and a bad boy back there. It's icy and a bitch back there, right? So it's kicking with some walruses. and some sea lions, which are dangerous, but they give her full respect. Now, what she comes from, she is this Inuit root. She is Narivik culture, and she is there are variants of her all over a lot of these Inuit cultures in this region here, and they still survive to this day. She has not died out. It's just small pockets. People still hold on to their earliest belief systems, and it's amazing. But she is the mistress of marine animals and the ruler of the Arctic Ocean depths. So again, geographical region is very strong. Geographical association almost trumps everything else. Her symbols, and this gets a little terrifying, right? This gets a little terrifying. I'm telling you guys right. It's a little easy, okay? Her symbols include severed fingers, which are now transforming into sea monsters. I don't know where that comes from. But it's terrifying and also kind of strange at the same time. But this is what she shows. In her iconography, her symbolism is often shows as a woman beneath the ocean, sometimes with tangled hair, but always surrounded by seals or whales or walruses. So this is because she is the sovereign spirit of the ocean sea. Again, a personification, whereas we just saw the intelligence of the Aegean Sea, she is the sovereign spirit of the Arctic Ocean. And unlike nurturing goddesses, she governs survival in one of the harshest environments that exist. So she's both a provider, and in her secondary role, she's also a judge of humanity, right? So there is moral judgment that comes along with this particular type of deity, especially in how you treat the sea, right? So that's what we fundamentally need to understand about her first. Now, this is like the early, hey, my dog just came here. Hey, what's going on, big guy? You know what's going live? Okay. I'm sorry, guys. This dog, man, this dog likes snacks, man. So, they pay the toll. Oh, man, we're getting low, homie. We're getting low. Better make it last. Okay. So now I'm back. I'm sorry for that dog interruption, okay? But this is like the first Aquaman. When we talk about somebody controlling sea animals, talk about the first person who's like, hey, I need you guys to go rough this guy up. That's where this comes from. That's where that idea of controlling the marine animals under your domain actually comes from. Wasn't Namor, wasn't that other guy who I ain't even going to talk about, terrible movies, comes from this deity here. And we can see how modern culture has been shaped to keep that aspect, right? So very fascinating tale. So her authorities include release or withholding of animals for hunt. So she had control over the animals that were hunted. She was regulation of ecological balance. Now we're going to settle in that one for a minute. She was the regulation of ecological balance, which meant like overfishing, that meant abuse of the sea, that meant keeping coastal waters and ocean waters absolutely as pure as possible. And the main thing about it is if you really, really wanted to, get on her bad side, disrespect the ocean, disrespect nature, right? Just go up to the Arctic and start disrespecting nature and see if you don't get handled for that, because that is what her role, capacity, and domain is. She's very stout and serious about that. You're going to show respect to nature. I think some very important components about this deity that still surface. Does she not have a shirt on? Man, I can't even tell. But this is the most important part, is that she was regulated. She was a spirit in practice. And if you violate her nature, she will bring upon you scarcity, right? That's the twofold. I can provide nourishment, but I can also provide scarcity. And she would use the scarcity, again, if you disrespected nature. So hunters when hunters violate the taboos or they're dishonorable, she keeps animals beneath the sea. And only through ritual meditation can this harmony be restored. So basically supplicating yourself to the power of the ocean, having proper respect for the ocean. Now, historically, this is Inuit, Arctic, indigenous traditions. This is really her root. This is where she comes from. We're talking about Arctic Canada. We're talking about Greenland. We're talking about Alaska. And her mythology developed among people whose survival utterly depended on marine hunting and living in these extreme conditions. Just like we see, if you're in mountainous areas where it's difficult, it's dry, you have rain gods, right? If you're at the sea, you're living off of this, you develop, sea goddesses or sea mothers. So this all really, really does make sense under that context. These are people in these are regions where they had to deal with, like, it's frozen here a good part of the year. Living in these environments, they require respect and knowledge, right, and intelligence, because they're dangerous. Like these icy environments, just imagine walking on ice. You never know, right? We had a recent freeze out here. I'm in the south, right? I'm in the south. They don't have any ice, right? I came from near Colorado region, so we were used to dealing with snow. So we had ice, and we had snow shovels, and I had that stuff out here. They didn't even know this would happen. Like if you live in Atlanta, that ice means a lot when you're living in Atlanta and you guys don't have salt or any of that stuff, right? So it's dangerous and predictable. Just walking across the surface of ice is dangerous and unpredictable. You can imagine living around ice, and ice moves in different ways, right? It moves as if it has a mind. I think that was Samuel Jackson in Deep Blue Sea. Like the ice that moved, talking about those glaciers when they got trapped up on the mine, ice moves as if it had a taste for killing. Yeah. Ice moves as if it had a taste for killing because it has. The ice is ice is one of the most silently undefeated things around. Like ice will get you, freeze you up, break you down, fall on you. You'll do all kinds of trap, damage your boat, crush you. Ice is all about that life, all about it. But there are reliable food sources if you know how to navigate the conditions. So this is what she represented. She represents a deep ecological awareness of the Arctic survival system. Not only was it to your benefit, you didn't have a choice. You had to. Disrespecting this environment ultimately met your own demise, and she was good. She was here to make sure that happened. Now, being that she is central to Inuit, which are shamanistic practices, her rituals include shamanic speakings, right? Like the ritual type of speakings. There was spiritual journey into her underworld home. What they did in there, I think during they would build those religious structures, and they would go through like psychological, awakening events, seeing the things manifesting through her icy domain. There were hair combing rituals that were important to them. Her tangled hair must be combed by the shaman to calm her anger, right? So they would take these replicants of her, and they would, when she was outside tripping and there was a storm, they would sit down with her, the representation of her, and they would comb out her hair. That's why she's either depicted with her hair is always important, right? If her hair was tangled, it was going to be problems out there. It was going to be an issue, right? But when her hair was smooth like this, she's a whole different. See how nice she looks right there, just kind of like calm and placid and all that stuff. But the hair was the indicator, right? This is like Nappy Fro Kobe. I don't know if you guys remember Nappy Fro Kobe. My favorite Kobe was Nappy Fro Kobe, because the more napped up his fro was, I'm like, yeah, this dude's gonna go insane tonight. Like he looks like he just woke up and there's some lint in it. He's about to go off. I love the Mamba, but the Mamba was a different, edged up and clean. Come on, edged up and clean, nice taper fade. But Nappy Fro Kobe was an entirely different beast. That's what she represents. Tangled hair Sedna is a completely different beast than relaxed hair Sedna. But this is where you want her to be at. Unless you guys got a big game against Sacramento, this is where you want her to be at. So you smooth her hair. That's a ritual to keeping her calm. And then obviously you observe the taboos. You make sure you're mindful of the things that she doesn't want you to do, and how you handle animals and those rituals and things like that. So culturally, the hunters had to have a mutual respect behavior to avoid angering the sea goddess. That was ultimately what it is. And her rituals emphasize this reconciliation between nature and humans. So she kept it all like chill between all of us. Do what you guys are supposed to do and everything's gonna be nice. So she is nature's moral authority. She is, when human behavior directly influences environmental conditions, she steps in. She is survival. She represents human survival by respecting nature. That's the first foremost thing about it. And she will maintain this ecological balance throughout all of it. That's her role. The sea is not conquered. You negotiate with the sea. You ask the sea. You give the sea a little bit of bread on the side. Be like, well, if I slide you this Benjamin, can I get through? And you know what? The sea's like, yeah. I don't know how we morally quantify that, but if you make your offerings to the sea, slide him a little bit, right? Slide him a Benji, and all of a sudden the sea's like, and I'm chilling, man. And that's what she really represents. Now, in myth context, she has said, like, there are some older myths about her origin, and in some versions, she is betrayed by her father during a sea journey. He threw her ass into the sea to save himself during a storm. Man, that just sounds like you are asking for it mythologically. What the hell is wrong with you? Like, I don't know. He must not have read mythology, because as soon as I heard he threw her in the ocean, I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna. I know it might have seemed like a good idea at the time. I don't know. I don't know what kind of good idea you could have. Or like, throw my daughter out, her, right? And so she clings to the boat, right? And this is a crazy myth here. He throws her into the ocean to save himself. She's clinging to the boat. Like, you can imagine, like, no, daddy, don't throw me into the cold ocean. He cuts her fingers off. Her fingers transform into seals, walruses, and whales. She sinks to the bottom floor, and then she becomes the ruler of this maritime realm. So that's how deeply connected that these animals literally came from her. I don't know if her fingers grew back, or if she's got like some cosmic or prosthetic fingers in there. I mean, that would be weird. But this is where ultimately all this sea life comes from. So her connection to the animals that she commands is also through that creation. Like, they are extensions of her, literally. These are the extensions, right? Rosie, right? Rosie and her 5, whatever, how that used to go. That's who she represents. And that's why she's represented in part by fingers that are being turned into actual creatures of the sea. It's a very important aspect of her personality. And now we get to Yemoja. And Yemoja, of course, comes to us from West African belief systems. And now she's fully represented in, Santeria, the Vodun belief systems. So various places of the Caribbean, the American South, right? That has always been an entry point for this particular belief system. So she's very strong, not only in West Africa. And West Africans show a lot of pride. When you talk to like Ghanaians, Benin, those coastal countries, they venerate Yemoja. Like, I'm telling you right now, there's probably a party right now. Somebody's planning a party right now for the weekend that is a ritual for her. That's 100%. Like, that's with even out of doubt, right? So she's either known as Yemoja or Yemaya, and that's, again, you're traveling with the diaspora. And the root of her name, Yemoja, Yeye, or Yeye, and that's a word that we identify as mother, right? So you might hear, I think it was Erykah Badu has a song where she says Yeye. I think it's titled that, Yeye. Yeye or Yeye, I think is the way that she says it. And it means mother. So this is coming from the continent of Africa, and that terminology traveled through the diaspora, which is kind of an amazing thing, how much culturally some of those people brought over during that slave trade. So Yeye means mother. So Yeye Oma Ija means mother whose children are fish. Mother whose children are fish. Yeye Oma Ija. Mother whose children are fish. So her domain is primarily, she's the mother of rivers and oceans, also fertility and protection. So she's got a lot, right? She's got a lot. Her symbols are very often, flowing water, seashells, and motherhood. Those are her symbolisms. Iconography shows regal women associated with ocean seas, flowing garments, as you can see here, and aquatic imagery, right? This is kind of what she's known for. Very beautiful, striking deity. You can see the shell in her hand. So this is very important iconography. And what she governs in this culture was the oceans and the rivers itself. She was deity you pray to for fertility, especially if you're trying to have children. I guess that's what fertility ultimately is all about, right? And she protects families. So not just helping you get pregnant and have a baby, actually protecting the family as it grows. And again, because it's water, we always see an association with emotional healing and purification. So water rituals a lot of times are about purification. That's 100% the truth. And water is viewed as a source of life and spiritual renewal. So water and its refreshing capacity is well known. In their cosmology, the Orishas themselves originate from or are connected to Yemoja. Like, all of them kind of come from her. So she represents the primordial maternal force within the natural world, like a very big concept that she represents. Now, culturally, like she is all the way back to Yoruba civilization. So this is where modern Nigeria is now. So pre-colonization, this system kind of centered on Orisha worship. They were at the center of it. Like it was at a state level. This was state level belief systems, not just culturally, but state level. She appears now in Brazil, Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, and tradition lores. And throughout the African diaspora, she's still highly venerated for people who descend from Africa, especially here in the U.S. Now, she loved getting some goodies. She loved the swag bag, right? Like, I'm not gonna tell you guys, but man, I'm telling you. I'm not gonna tell you, but I'm telling you, man. Keep her happy, man, right? It's not even that bad, right? It's really not. It's worth it. What she wants is some offerings. Yeah, I said it. I want some offerings. I want some stuff. Give me some of that internet money, right? Get that to me. So she likes, but she's simple. She likes flowers. She likes fruit. She likes perfume and candles, places like that's who she is. Give her some perfume. Like, she got something for you. She likes festivals where people celebrate and dance. She's like the larger the better along these coastal lines and also rivers. She was receptive to prayers, especially cleansing rituals. And water, of course, is for purification and emotional healing. It's not back. Jeez, I'm not giving you another one. You're gonna get too fat. I'm just gonna pet you now, but I'm down. I said you were low on snacks right now. Do you remember that? Okay, well, you're gonna have to wait. I'm hungry right now too. Okay, we got some stuff we got to get through here. So water is purification and emotional healing. So she is widely invoked in protection of women, mothers, and children. And in their mythology, she represents water as a source of life. Human existence, of course, originates from water, and she is thus the divine mother. Nature itself is, under this worldview, nature itself is both maternal and protective. And it's about emotions, it's about cleaning. Water purifies both your body and spirit. And her theology frames the ocean as the nurturing cosmic womb. So we don't have to look outside of us for the cosmic womb. It's right here, and this is our cosmic womb. Now, her sorrow or transformation gives birth to rivers. When she cries, literally when she cries, that becomes flowing waters. And this myth emphasizes the emotional dimension of water. So life emerges through both joy and also grief. Now, she recognized, or the early culture recognized water as this source. They value, this is what it says about the culture. This is what it says about these West Africans during this period of time. That they recognize water itself as being the source of life, that they value motherhood and fertility, that they maintain strong connections between nature and spirituality. Those things are linked together. And her worship continues today. Like, I'm telling you, off of multiple continents, she's still getting that business in. She's still cashing checks right now. I bet she's got like a castle full of like offerings that she hasn't looked at yet. I hope it wasn't any food in there. I'm assuming that the wine just is going to get better. So what we've seen right now has been 3 faces of sea mother representations. I think very powerful. I wanted to look at the timeline just to give you guys an idea how long these deities have been around and the various stages. Now, if we go back, this is the earliest one. 4,000 years ago in West Africa, this is where the early Yoruba River cultures began to develop. This is the proto-forms eventually would evolve into Yemoja, the Mother of Waters. These are sea spirits associated with fertility, motherhood, and protection. And this is where they first start being conceptualized by the Yoruba. By 3000 BCE, this is Bronze Age maritime civilization. The Minoans and the early Aegean cultures were developing complex seafaring societies built around having access to this ocean, this body of water. And island networks, trade routes, and navigation start to dominate their very life. And maritime goddesses were very important. By 1600 BCE, now the Mycenaeans and the early Greek war, now traveling is central to warfare, trade, and colonization, and the ocean is both an opportunity and a danger. The seas associate the deities with protection, storms, and coastal survival. And this is her representing that cultural relationship with the Aegean. By about 3,000 years, so 1000 CE, you have the full development of the Orisha religion. So it now becomes more organized. Yemoja is firmly established as the mother of rivers and oceans, protector of women and children, and the source of fertility and life itself. Her name, of course, meaning mother itself. Now, going a little bit further, about 800 BCE, in the Mediterranean world, we're starting to see coastal religion is flourishing across these islands and port cities. So they're getting their offerings before voyages. The harbors are shrines themselves. The sailors are giving prayer. Sailors. I never thought that sailors prayed like this. Now with the Arctic regions, because the Inuit belief systems were far more built on oral tradition. So sometimes if we don't have a lot of information on a particular group, it's because they didn't write it down, or they wrote it down, those texts weren't preserved, but they depended on oral storytelling as a part of it. That's obviously more difficult when you kill off everybody in the culture. It makes it a lot more difficult to know who they were if you keep killing everybody. But we see this development being spread along. Now, by the time we get to the 1500s, we're seeing Yemoja is everywhere. Now she's in Cuba, now she's in Brazil, and she will be there. She's throughout the diaspora. She's one of the most loved figures in the diaspora. So her place is absolutely minted, right? We absolutely know who she is, where she's going to be, and we have great stories about her. By the 1800s, Brazil and Cuba, there are large public festivals honoring Yemoja. And in the present day, all three of them continue to exist in their cultures. Yemoja is actively worshipped across Africa and into the diaspora belief systems as well, heavily. I know somebody who's worshiping Yemoja right now. Like, I'm not joking with you guys. That's how strong she is, how deep she is in the streets. Sedna is preserved through Inuit storytelling, artwork, and cultural traditions, so they're keeping her alive. And Amathaounta is kind of remembered just when we hit these ancient maritime mythology. So she's the one most in jeopardy of us not continuing to talk about her, which is why it's important to do videos like this. So across thousands of years, very different environments, humanity imagined the sea as a mother. It was warm Atlantic waters in Africa where she nurtures life. In the frozen Arctic depth, she controls survival. And in the islands of Aegean, she carries civilizations across the horizon. So 3 oceans, 3 different cultures, and 3 different actual mothers. Okay. So again, just the power of what the sea meant and how humans kind of express these things in similar ways, right? Hey, Patrick, what's up, by the way? So this is kind of, I told you guys I'm going to start at 11. I was going to get through this piece. So I feel like we've done a good job. If you guys haven't hit me with any questions, there's always the opportunity to drop them in the comment sections later. I will come back and address them. So right now it's creeping up on lunchtime. So, you know me, I'm going to go and grab something to eat. I ate some baked barbecue chicken the other day. It was really bomb. So I'm going to step off. I'm going to make sure this is cut up so you guys can go back to the channel and watch it. But as always, hit that like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I always appreciate how much support I've been getting from my audience. Man, it really makes me feel good. I have so much love for you guys. I love sharing these things for you. I love putting in doing the prep work and all that stuff so I can give you guys a good product. So I appreciate you coming in. Hopefully you guys will continue to join me, and hopefully I'll be able to give you enough reason to do so.